This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
And look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office has ever used that phrase.
I never thought I'd live to see the day Gavin Newsom actually spit out the truth for once in his life. If you've been rocking with this channel for a while, you know we've roasted Newsom's lies countless times. Remember his nonsense about the California wildfires? Yeah, that one. Well, shocker of the century. It seems Newsom just flipped the script, because a viral clip shows him admitting the truth for the very first time. Unbelievable, I know. As always, smash that subscribe button and let's dive right in.
John Fetterman was in the news today. He said, we're talking about the Democratic Party, he said, if we don't get our shit together, we're going to be a permanent minority.
I agree.
And I see you're doing something about it. I applaud it. I think it's great. You've got this podcast. You're talking to people. You know, it's amazing to me that even that is controversial to some people. They call it platforming. If you talk to someone you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like this country is divided into owners and healers. People think you can own the other side.
Even Bill Maher looked stunned when Newsom dropped his little truth bomb. You could literally see him pause for a beat after Gavin muttered those two shocking words, I agree. Now, let's be honest. Nobody tuned in expecting honesty from California's slick-haired governor. We were all bracing for the usual marathon of excuses, deflections, and political spin when MR bluntly said, the Democratic Party is teetering on the verge of collapse. Instead, Newsom, yes, Gavin, I never take responsibility, Newsom, actually admitted the party is in real trouble. For a man who's built his career on sugarcoating disasters, that's practically a confession under oath. But here's the kicker, that wasn't the only uncomfortable truth he nodded along to. For once, Newsom wasn't dodging, wasn't lecturing, wasn't wagging his finger. He was agreeing. And when a professional denier suddenly starts conceding, you know the cracks in the facade are starting to show.
Gavin Newsom owned DeSantis.
Yeah.
DeSantis destroyed Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
Or people who want to talk and heal. And I feel like the next president's going to be, at least if it comes from this party, the Democratic Party, someone who wants to talk and heal. And I feel like we're doing that.
Honestly, I don't buy for a second that Gavin Newsom's shiny new podcast is about talking or healing. Come on, this is politics, not therapy hour. What I really see is a carefully staged audition for the big job he's been eyeing all along, the presidency in 2028. Think about it. Newsom knows his image has taken hit after hitting California. Skyrocketing homelessness, businesses fleeing the state, wildfires, rolling blackouts, you name it. So now he's trying to rebrand. He wants to scrub off that slick, slimy, over-polished persona and swap it for the role of a Democratic healer. The guy who's supposedly going to unify the nation. It's calculated. It's scripted. And it reeks of political theater. To me, that screams hypocrisy. He's not here to mend divisions. He's here to polish his resume. That's my take. But you tell me, does anyone really buy Gavin Newsom as America's therapist-in-chief?
It's really been interesting, the reaction to the podcast. I mean, we had some controversial figures on, I'll acknowledge that, and Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and some others. But you're right. I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it, bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now.
Wait a second. Did Gavin Newsom just admit that the Democratic Party is toxic? Because that's exactly what it sounded like. And honestly, I'm stunned. You all heard it straight from the horse's perfectly gelled mouth. The irony here is almost laughable. The Democratic Party has become unattractive not just by accident, but largely because of figures like Newsom himself. Politicians who care more about the photo ops, the polished speeches, and the endless virtue signaling than about actually doing the hard work of governing. California is the poster child of failed leadership under his watch. Yet he's suddenly acknowledging the rot within his own party. That's rich. It's like the arsonist showing up at the fire scene and saying, "Wow, this place really burned down, huh?" If Newsom is finally calling out toxicity, maybe he should start by looking in the mirror.
We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be.
You notice how Gavin Newsom keeps sliding his podcast into the conversation like it's some casual afterthought? That's classic Gavin. Sneaky, slick, and always selling himself. It's the perfect glimpse of who he really is, the textbook definition of a modern Democrat, all words, no results. He'll talk circles around a problem, drown you in polished lines, and at the end of the day, absolutely nothing changes. And did anyone else catch that subtle jab he tossed? Because it sure sounded like a dig at Kamala Harris. Because if there's one Democrat who's perfected the art of speaking without substance, it's Kamala. She can string together the longest, most confusing sentence and somehow say absolutely nothing. So maybe Gavin was being shady, or maybe it was just a Freudian slip. Either way, it exposed the cracks. Even the Democratic darlings are starting to turn on each other.
This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it, you've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature about this.
If Gavin Newsom is suddenly in the mood for accountability, then he better start by owning up to the destruction he's unleashed on California since taking the governor's seat. You can't go on national TV, blame Democrats for the 2024 defeat, and lecture your own party about owning up while pretending your own record is spotless. That's hypocrisy at its finest. California under Newsom has become a cautionary tale. Sky-high homelessness, mass business exodus, outrageous taxes, rampant crime, and a cost of living so crushing that families are fleeing in droves. If he wants Democrats to take responsibility, then he should lead by example and take responsibility for the chaos in his own backyard. Because, let's be clear, Gavin Newsom isn't just a witness to California's decline. He's the architect. Until he admits that every word about accountability from him is nothing more than empty political theater. Not only is he responsible for California's decline, he also shares the blame for the Democrats' apparent implosion, like when he lied that he had never used the term Latinx. Watch this.
Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx,
like,
everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
So now you see why I was genuinely shocked to hear Gavin Newsom finally let the truth slip out of his mouth. This is a man so addicted to spin and deception that we've all been conditioned to expect nothing but lies. Even when the cameras are rolling and the evidence is right there, that's the Newsom playbook. Deny, deflect, distract. And Californians have lived through the consequences of that routine for years. Homelessness exploding, businesses shutting down, crime rising, people packing up and leaving the state. Yet, he still manages to smile for the cameras and act like everything's golden. That's why hearing him admit even a sliver of truth felt like spotting a unicorn in downtown San Francisco. At the end of the day, Gavin Newsom isn't a leader. He's a scam artist in a tailored suit, selling illusions while his state crumbles behind him. Interestingly, that wasn't the only time he used Latinx.
And look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office has ever used that phrase.
So credit where it's due. Kudos to Bill Maher for getting Gavin Newsom to finally drop the mask and cough up a little truth for the first time in his career. That's no small feat. Newsom is usually as scripted as a Hollywood teleprompter. Yet Maher managed to corner him into admitting what the rest of us have known all along. And maybe that's exactly why so many top Democrats steer clear of Maher's show in the first place. They know he's not going to coddle them with softball questions or let them spin endless talking points. He'll press, he'll prod, and sooner or later, he'll make them either squirm or confess. For a party built on optics and carefully curated narratives, that's dangerous territory. If Maher can crack slick Gavin Newsom, imagine what would happen if he got the rest of the Democratic elite on that hot seat.
I was on KBLA
yesterday
with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state.
Burst of honesty doesn't erase years of lies, failures, and political theater. Sure, Bill Maher managed to get him to admit a sliver of truth, but one rare confession doesn't change the fact that Newsom is the architect of California's decline. His slick image, empty podcast preaching, and woke progressive agenda might impress elites, but they fall flat with everyday Americans. If this is the Democrats' future star, then the party's problems run even deeper than we thought. Newsom isn't the solution. He's the symptom. And this brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Progressive politics, which may play well in elite coastal circles, but doesn't resonate with the vast majority of everyday Americans. Most voters don't want lectures, virtue signaling, or glossy sound bites. They want results. Newsom has proven time and again that he's better at playing the part than fixing the problems. If he thinks America is buying what he's selling, he's in for a rude awakening. At the end of the day, Gavin Newsom's sudden burst of honesty is nothing short of disastrous. Under his leadership, the Golden State has turned into a cautionary tale. Homelessness skyrocketing, crime running rampant, businesses fleeing in droves, and families crushed under the weight of insane taxes and living costs. That's not exactly the resume of a future president. And then there's his brand of woke, progressive
problems run even deeper than we thought. Newsom isn't the solution. Here's the symptom. And this brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.